I've got 36,000 free subscribers, and then I've got 1,400 paid. With notes, I really see it as another form that I can do my teaching in. I find it really fun. I'm really having to let go of this mindset thing of more content is more value.
Jo Hutton is a senior yoga teacher, teacher trainer, and the heart behind the best-selling Substack newsletter, Yoga for Tired People, a wildly successful online yoga business that's all about less hustle and more nervous system support. Amen to this. Jo went from offline classes and burnout to building a thriving paid community of over 1,400 subscribers on Substack. Now she has an orange badge, meaning she has more than 1,000 paid subscribers, and 80% of them found her through Substack Notes, Substack's internal social media network, where conversations don't feel empty as on other social media platforms. They feel as if you would be talking to friends and real human beings. So if you are a coach, a healer, a teacher, or creator looking for a more sustainable way to do what you love, this one is for you. Let's dive in. Hello, Jo. Thank you so much for joining today's podcast episode with me. Hope everything is fine. You're doing well today.
Yeah, I'm really good. Lovely to be here, Christina.
Yeah, and I saw on your Substack newsletter that you were on a vacay.
Yeah, certainly was. It was needed. So I've recently stopped teaching in person. So I've closed my in-person studio. So that was like a holiday to just mark that. So I'm fully online now.
The interesting thing about you is that you have now a best-selling Substack newsletter, which is called Yoga for Tired People. And I'd like to know a bit more about you being this senior yoga teacher and now being this Substack bestseller. How did you go from, this is of course like a big question here, but how did you go from like this offline teacher to becoming this online teacher on Substack?
So I have been a yoga teacher for, I can never remember the exact time, but it's between 14 to 15 years I've been teaching full-time yoga. And I've had a yoga studio in Newcastle city centre, which is just, I didn't really need to market it online because it was all word of mouth. It's been quite popular there. And then I've been a yoga teacher trainer as well. And then I just was noticing that there are a big demographic of people who love yoga and would love to be able to do yoga, but just can't get to a studio for whatever reason. And the way that the yoga classes are set up means you have to take an hour out of your time. It means that you have to leave your house. I just wanted to create something that was a little bit more accessible for people. And I had quite a big burnout in 2022. Because running an in-person yoga studio during the old pandemic was quite stressful. So I completely burnt out at that time, and I had to completely reapproach my own yoga practice and kind of rip up the rule book with that. And what I learned from doing that, I was like, I think there's probably other people who would really benefit from this approach. The way that I talk to my trainee teachers, I'm like, that you just have to create it. And so I thought, right, okay, I'm going to give online teaching a go. I think I started taking online seriously in about November last year. So November 2023 was when I was like, okay, I'm going to go online and give online marketing a go.
So it's not so long ago that you started your Substack newsletter. And the name of your Substack, I think, is spot on with Yoga for Tired People. I love this one. What I also love is your tagline, no mat or outfit change required, which I love, which is brilliant, because also for me, when you're a busy working mom, then you're thinking about, okay, so I want to take this 60-minute yoga class later, I don't know, at for 5 p.m. or so. And I'm like, I have to do this. And the whole day I'm thinking about the yoga class I have to take. And for you, it's so easy, you say no mat, no outfits change required. And I think this is super brilliant. Could you share a bit more about this, let's call like umbrella brand you're building there that is so different to what we're seeing online now?
Well, I was looking at like what was stopping people from doing yoga. So what I was finding is that because I had an online membership that had like full classes. I still run that, but when I was doing market research and I was speaking to my people, and my clients, quite often what they were saying was, I really want to do this, but there's like a barrier to actually get your mat out at home. It was like the will was there, but and then what happens is you feel guilty about not doing it. So this thing that is supposed to make your life lovely, it makes you feel guilty because you know you would feel better if you do it, and then you add this other layer onto it. And I just wanted to really break down, like, what is it that stops people from doing yoga? And then I was like, okay, let's just hit that head on and be like, you don't need a mat. You don't need to change your clothes. It's only going to be 5 minutes. We're going to weave it into your day. It kind of came from that. It came from like speaking to my students and being like, where are the friction points from? Because you obviously want to do yoga because you've signed up to this thing, but you're not, something is stopping. So I like looked at the friction points and kind of addressed them head on.
If someone's coming to your Substack, I think like the first thing we would then check out would be your about. Share a bit more about what you are sharing in this about, and also what you are offering your free subscribers and your paid subscribers, so that we can get like a feel for what your newsletter offering is all about.
My about page is just more explaining the philosophy around yoga for tired people, and explaining like what you get with a subscription, what you get with a paid subscription. Because I think sometimes when you land on a page, it's quite difficult to like navigate. So I just wanted to create one thing that was like, this is what it is, this is what you get, this is who I am, and just make that a little bit clearer, because I think it can be quite hard to sometimes find that in Substack.
I love that you're starting here with the philosophy. Yoga shouldn't be a chore, it should be a celebration. And again, what you shared with me with the pain points, you're exactly addressing them here. What I also love is that I think your free subscribers as well as the paid subscribers are getting a lot from your newsletter. What is exactly what I would get if I would become a paid subscriber or a free subscriber to your Substack?
Free subscribers get one session a month, and they get access to all of the free sessions that have happened in the past. So they get access to the free archives. I also do little fun things as well. Sometimes do lives, and we curate a playlist together every month as well. And if you're free, you get access to the playlist. And if you paid, you get one session a week. So every Monday in your inbox, you will receive a session that's between 5 and 20 minutes long, where you don't have to change your clothes, you don't have to get out your mat, you literally just put your inbox on, you do your yoga, you get access to all of the library, and you get access to the chats and the comments as well. So you can only comment if you're a paid subscriber. And if you're a paid subscriber, you get to pick a song for the playlist, which is always it's a highlight of the month. It's good fun. And yes, so if you're a free subscriber, you just kind of get like you get the same content, you just get less of it.
And also, like all subscribers, which I think is cool, getting access to this complete beginner's yoga course and yoga snacks.
Yeah, so the yoga snacks are the ones that are less than 2 minutes long. So I usually put them on notes, and then we'll put them in the library as well. There's lots of beginners yoga courses out there, and they're great, but I don't think that a lot of them are for complete beginners. I think there's this assumption that you can do things like get up and down off the floor. There's a certain assumption that you know what a yoga mat is. I think a lot of people approach teaching beginners as just doing a normal class, but slower or less hard. But actually, it's a completely different style doing a beginner's class, because these people don't have the language to support what they're doing. I think it's a self-selecting group as well when you go to a yoga class. So by the time you're at a yoga studio, people have self-selected themselves. So you will be meeting people who are comfortable in that situation. You're going to be meeting people who can get up and down off the floor, because I think the people who can't do that will think, that's not for me. So I wanted to create a course where it was like taking all of those things into consideration and being like a point where we can stop the carousel and you can get on, and it's just not as scary, and then you can see if you like yoga or not.
You're giving the paid subscribers your on-demand videos as well as your free subscribers. You have this course, which is somehow also like a maybe a lead magnet where people see, oh, wow, I can also take this complete beginner's yoga course there if I become a paid subscriber to her. And also what I love is, of course, you have this on demand, which is best like for your nervous system. And if you say, okay, today I have this high energy level, I can also go on live on Substack, then you sharing like live some yoga postures and exercises and so on, which is really, really cool. Would you also say that it's like about 80% on demand and then 20% live? Because you also have these Zoom links. So for instance, me as a subscriber, so I used to be like a free subscriber, now I'm a paid subscriber, but then I got, for instance, a few days back, I got an email from you saying, hey, why not join us on Zoom, something like this. And then you said, yeah, but to get access to the Zoom a call or Zoom class, you would also have to become part of another membership, something like this. Could you share a bit more about, the percentage of on-demand and lives? Because I guess there are many others, yoga teachers and other fitness and health coaches who would like to know about this. And also, you're not only going with your newsletter here and the on-demand videos, but you're also going with this like next level there with the membership.
Yeah, so it's kind of like continuation. So Yoga for Tired People is very much for people who need that extra support to do it. So the classes are between 5 and 20 minutes long. You don't have to get out, change your clothes. You don't have to get out your mat. But then there are other people who might want to go a little bit deeper and might want those more structured classes. I call it the Zoom studio. And in there, we have 3 live classes a week. So we have 2 in the morning classes and we have Thursday evening class, and they're all recorded and you can do them at another time. So if you can't make it then, you can do it in your own time. And that's for people who want a little bit more structure and do have the energy and the time to get out their mat. It's still very restorative yoga. It's still very nervous system nourishing yoga. It's still very accessible. It's just more structured. So that's more like a classic Zoom online yoga studio, whereas the Yoga for Tired Substack is just more those shorter sessions.
So I guess then this one here, just to let you know, back from holiday and Soul Restore is on Sunday. This one here would be one of these emails where I then could click on book your space now. Am I right? And then I could join the Zoom lounge here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this event has already passed, but I could a few days back, I could click on it. Cool. And then it said here, let's stretch, let's rest, soul restore. So Monday and Wednesday, Thursday, monthly on Saturday evenings, and so on, which is amazing. You're offering these, I don't know, like I have the feeling like on a almost daily basis, I could meet you also then live in the Zoom lounge and do yoga with you. Is this then correct? How's like the percentage of like on demand and then also your live classes? Are you doing this on a like almost daily basis and then allowing your subscribers and members to join you there via Zoom?
It's 3 times a week and it's just that deeper layer. So I limit the amount of people who are allowed to come into the Zoom studio because it is quite a deep community. So we do like check-ins at the beginning of the class, like everyone kind of knows each other. It's kind of like it is a deeper community. Work-wise, I think it's probably an even split, the amount of time that I spend on the Substack and the amount of time I spend on the Zoom studio. They kind of work really well together, and I find that having the Zoom studio as well, because I'm having those conversations with people, I'm able to see what they want as well. Because one of the things that you can do if you're a paid member of the Substack is you can request classes. So I'm always trying to get the sessions that I make in the Substack to be things that people actually want, because I know that making content's hard because you sometimes have to just kind of guess what people want, but having this access to my community allows us to just say, what do you want? And then it's much easier to make the sessions.
When I'm clicking then on your yogafortiredpeople.com/Zoom lounge, then I'm coming to a site where I then would see connect, stretch, and finally build a habit that lasts. Welcome to the VIP Zoom launch. So I love everything with the name VIP in it because I think it always, has this like next level here. You can see that what's included 3 times a week, supportive classes. Joe, can you share how many people are joining? So I think usually like offline people, I would say like in gym, there are about like 20 to sometimes even, I don't know, maybe 30 people or so joining. With your online classes, how many are joining there?
Usually between around 25 to 30 people join on the time, but 30 is probably a bit too much to have in a Zoom class. I like to have it on the lower end.
How many people are then in this membership for tired people?
At the minute, there's 150.
And on Substack, for your Substack Yoga for Tired People membership or subscription, how many people do you have at the moment?
I've got 36,000 free subscribers, and then I've got 1,400 paid.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's why you are also an orange badge bestseller, but we're going to cover this in a sec. What I think is also super interesting, Joe, as you're from UK, I'm from Germany, and I'm, for instance, with the Online Writing Club, also like struggling with time, because I know my audience is in America. It is what it is. I can't change it, and it's wonderful, of course, to have like more than 80% coming from the US, then from Canada, and so on and so on. What I'm seeing here is you're offering, for instance, your classes then at 7:30 a.m. your time, and then 6:30 p.m. your time as well. So this would be like early in the morning in UK, and then it's called like late afternoon. How are you faring with this? Is this also good for your international audience?
It's hard. It is hard because it's difficult to get a time that everybody can do. So the workaround that I have is that they're all recorded. So I have quite a lot of members in the US who I just love. I love the US members. They're always so just so enthusiastic and lovely. What they do is they would do the recordings, but there's a comment section on the recordings. So if they've got something that they want to say, or they want to there's still a community aspect to it, even if they're not hitting them live. Like I'll go and respond to their comments. And quite often the reason why I put that 8 p.m. on a Sunday slot once a month was to kind of be able to meet up with the US members. So quite often the US members will do the morning ones recorded, but then we'll come on a Sunday once a month and we'll all say hi, and that's nice.
Ready to start your own Substack in 2025? Subscribe to get instant access to the Substack Starter Course, the go-to guide for beginners who want to grow from 0 to 1,000 subscribers and beyond. Then if I'm on your yogafortiredpeople.com Zoom lounge, what I'm seeing is I can click on, there are two things here. I can click on join now for month, and I can also click on join now for year. So if I'm, for instance, then clicking on join now for months, then I'm going to your moments.com. I've never heard about Moments. Is this, I don't know,
This is a great platform, but and if you're in the yoga world, you will know it. It's actually not been around that long. It's only been around for about 3 years, I think, because I was one of the early adopters. It's really great for scheduling classes, but it's made for an in-person studio, and that was what I was using for my in-person studio. It's got this really good on-demand library bit. It's got a really good CRM system, so there's a lot that I can send automated text messages, sends really good emails. So when I closed my studio, I was like, I'm just going to keep this because it's great. So everything on my website. So if you go to the Yoga for Tired People website, so if you click on VIP on demand library at the top.
Yeah, this one?
Yeah. So this library is all moments.
I see. Yeah, what I'm seeing now for everyone listening to this is I can see here Joe doing yoga for tired people, an overview, yoga for hips and legs, yoga for runners, which I think is cool. Pregnancy yoga, this is very important, of course. Shoulders and neck, beginners yoga. Nice. So this is your whole library for your classes, your videos.
And there's if you book a class, if you click along the top to book a Zoom class. So this is how it works, but it's all done through Moments. So you would just click book a class. So if you were a member, you would just go on there and click the classes that you want to come to. And that would mean that you would get immediately sent a Zoom link at the time, and you'd get a reminder and everything like that. So I do it all through Moments. It's quite pricey. I pay around £200 a month for it. When I think about how much time I save, I just think it's a total no-brainer.
It's so amazing that we're showing this website now because I've never seen it. It says save time, grow revenue. The number one platforms are studios, gyms, spas, and dance schools. Put your back-end admin on autopilot and get back to doing what you love most. So for instance, what I'm always recommending without being an affiliate is Teachable. This is the platform I'm using, especially for people coming from Europe, because they add the taxes, for instance, so that with my accountant, I know everything is fine. So I think this is brilliant for, again, dance schools, studios, gyms, and spas. I'm also wondering whether I don't know, if you, for instance, with me with the online writing class, sharing videos about how to do things, educate people, meaning educational videos and so on. Do you think this could also work with this Moments website?
I think it could, but to be honest, it's not like the courses aren't, it's not a course software. So it's much more around class management. So like doing waiting lists, sending out emails about like auto emails and things like that. So I think if I was going to be course heavy rather than class heavy, I think probably going with something like Teachable or something like that.
See, there's a new tool which we now learned about, which is amazing. I love all this. So now let's get like one step back, or let's start with your Substack newsletter, of course, and maybe walk us a bit through how you organized your Substack newsletter. What's working well? What you think is very important for you? I know, of course, that for instance, 80% of your growth is coming via Substack Notes, which is impressive. So what we're seeing here is Yoga for Tired People. This is the name of your newsletter. And then in the navigation bar, we can see notes. We can see that you're using chat, which I think is very important for you, as this is also one of the paid perks, of course. Then we can find the complete beginner yoga course and the VIP Zoom lounge, which we talked about already. Then also here, manage subscription. I think this is interesting because I've never seen this before. We can also check this out. Maybe we can start with your notes feed, because I think this is one of the reasons why Substack recently featured you, not only because you're trending and raising in your category, but also, of course, because you're using notes also in a different and very cool kind of way. I guess also maybe inspired by, your idea that somehow yoga is, or the yoga world, let's call it like this, is like broken, and you would like to, establish a new kind of yoga philosophy, I guess.
The philosophy of how I'm teaching isn't new. I think there's lots of people doing it. I think where the disconnect is because we've been using platforms like Instagram, and we've been using platforms like Twitter, and we've been using platforms that are the algorithms are so ad focused. It means that certain things have risen to the top. And I think that a lot of yoga teachers have become disheartened because they think, oh, well, what's the point of me even doing that? Because there's only certain people who are going to be. And I had complained about the online yoga world for a long time myself. And then I was like, this is so not me. Like, I'm not a complainer, I'm a doer. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it how I want to do it and see if anyone resonates with that. With notes, I really see it as another form that I can do my teaching in. I find notes really fun because it's just another medium that I can teach yoga in, which I really like.
Yeah, nice. And Joe, what you're doing here, what I'm seeing here on your notes feed is always, I'm seeing you're doing videos, which many people don't like at the moment because they're saying, hey, so many TikTokers are coming now to Substack, and on my notes feed, I'm just seeing videos anymore, although I think they are great, especially if you are a yoga instructor and a yoga teacher. What do you think about videos, for instance? Because this is how I found you. This was one of the, maybe we can find it here, one of your best performing videos on Instagram, I think. And you said something like, let's test whether it can also go viral, or let's test how many people like it also on Substack. And this is how I found you, and that's why I asked you for this wonderful interview today.
It's that one.
This one. Yeah, super.
We've been trained by these algorithms that we need to have a hook. It has to be really short form. It has to be like grabby, but actually it doesn't need to be this way on Substack because the algorithm isn't ad based. So we can be really creative with it. Like, I think it's really exciting because video is just another medium for us to create art with, and short form video doesn't have to be these attention grabbing we don't have to do it in the same format as we've seen on TikTok and Instagram. It's obvious why when people come over, that's because that's where they've come from and that's what they know. But I think there's such an opportunity for people on Substack to embrace video in a completely different way. And I think it's really exciting because we've got so many creative people on here. We've got loads of artists, we've got loads of poets, we've got loads of I would love it if people could get that idea around how we've done it on Instagram and TikTok out of their head, and we could just make really fun things on Substack.
I think you're an awesome example for what you can share. For instance, if you're a yoga instructor here with videos, you're also sharing here some bite-sized information and tips on how to stretch, what to do if you're stressed. Of course, you're also sharing your successes here. For instance, this one, when you was rising in health and wellness, which is cool. How do you think about the bestseller badges, for instance, in the leaderboard? The leaderboards somehow are new and not new because we always had the leaderboards, but now they are more popular than ever because we have the new leaderboard for rising, meaning also people coming to the platform, just having I don't know, let's say they don't have an audience, they are building their Substack, they are rising, or we have people like Justin Wells now joining Substack and becoming within just a few hours a bestseller and so on. How are you thinking about these leaderboards?
I don't think I've completely formed my exact opinions about them. I know that I can find them triggering. When I was number one in the rising and health and well, I liked it. I definitely liked it. But I can also see how if I wasn't, it could make me feel a different way. So they could be a force for good, depending on how you interact with them.
Yeah, I love this force for good. However, of course, for your nervous system, it might not so good to check it all the time. So for instance, I'm getting screenshots with, hey, Christina, I'm now rising. And then, oh no, it's gone. What's going to happen? And the thing here you have to know is really they are updating the rising on an hourly basis. And it's all about your paid subscribers. Okay. So you can also grow with your free subscribers. And then, for instance, as Joe shared, you can have your own membership outside of Substack, for instance, without giving Substack the 10% cut, or simply because there are other platforms helping you more. So I guess this is very important to add here. One more thing about notes. Do you have a content plan or anything for notes, or do you do it the way I do it, just to share something about here, a photo from your cat or something, just in the moment?
I have never been able to do a content plan ever in my life. I'm not a content planner at all. It's just not the way my brain works. I kind of need the dopamine hit of doing it. So in the moment, when I plan my content, I don't get as excited about posting it and then I forget about it.
Yeah, me too at the moment. However, if you're going to listen to this and you're thinking, oh, I could never do this, and what you can do at the moment is also you can schedule notes. There are many people offering this now. There is also a tribe member who's offering this. And you can, of course, also check out the other podcast or video about the specific thing. So now let's go back. We talked about notes. Maybe, Joe, you can share a bit more about your chat. What are you offering in your chat and how is it working?
So it's where the community is really. So once a month, I'll say, is there anything that anyone wants this month? And then people say what sessions that they want. And if there's a session that's mentioned a lot, then that obviously goes to the top of the list. It's just a really lovely community. There's people from all over. It's just a nice chat. It's a nice community where people just share what they're doing in their daily lives and we can meet each other. It's nice.
Love these author interviews? Subscribe now to unlock exclusive interviews with New York Times bestselling author Evelyn Skye or 8 million solopreneur Justin Welch, only here with Christina Gard and the Online Writing Club. And then you also have in the navigation bar, if I click on manage subscriptions, then I could now manage the subscription to Joe's Substack. Why are you doing this? I've never seen this before.
I don't feel like it's a particularly easy user journey to go on to do that as a user. So I was like, okay, how can I put this in my subscription? So because a lot of the people who are my subscribers, they're not necessarily people who are natives to Substack, if that makes sense. And so they need to have things there for them. And it's kind of my job as someone who's running the Substack to make it as easy for them as possible.
So take back control over your Substack. I'm a fan of this, especially too, might have heard about Lucy Vanna, for instance, with Hype Yourself, what has happened to her. Of course, I got all her subscribers somehow back and also the paid subscribers, but still it's a struggle, if from one moment to the next you try to delete something and it's definitely not your newsletter, you just try to delete a podcast episode and then suddenly your whole Substack newsletter is deleted and vanished. And you're like, oh my God, So I think it's very important, to create backups and also to take back control over your Substack, because this is something that many are struggling with. If they want to upgrade, I'm also often sending screenshots. And so I think this is definitely something I'm also going to add to my Substack newsletter. And then walk us a bit through your website, your newsletter, your blog on the internet, Jo, because I love how you organize your newsletter.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say, because I feel like it's a hot mess.
What?
I feel like it's a hot mess. It's hard because when you've got a lot of content, you kind of have to think about different client journeys, don't you? So you have people who only want to do the meditation. You have the people who only want to do the weekly classes. You have the people who only want to do the Zooms. You have the people who only... So you have to kind of think, right, okay, how can I make this the clearest way? So I'm a big fan of the tags and the categories. I think they're a huge help. It's a little bit annoying that you can only really see it on the homepage on a desktop and not in the app, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. So
also you can check out a video I posted on YouTube about tags and categories, how to use them, because this is another story, with the tags and the categories. But to make it very easy, it's just if you're posting a specific story, what you can do before you hit publish, you can add specific tags, and these tags gonna help you organize your Substack, as well as they're gonna help educate the Substack algorithm that is a child on what your newsletter and what this specific post is all about. So let's say it would be about yoga, but for the first time, Jo would post something about fishing, for instance, or gardening or breakfast, whatever. And then she would tag this with gardening, for instance, or fishing. And then Substack's algorithm would show people who would be interested in fishing or interested in gardening this in the explore feed. Okay, this is what this is about. And at the same time, you can also organize your Substack website, which Jo did here. So for instance, what you can do after you see this start here and the latest post, you would then see, for instance, neck and shoulders. So specific videos for neck and shoulders. You would see legs and hips. You would see back, and you would see feel better. Let me see. And meditation, for instance. This was you mentioned, Jo, bedtime and massage. And we have core training, midday stretch. Oh, there's a lot. Anatomy focus. Is it like similar to the stuff you're sharing then in the membership, or is this different, or is it overlapping then?
So the membership's completely different because it's like a yoga class. So the membership one is like, you come to your mat, we'll have half an hour. It starts with a breathing and then you do some yoga poses and you have a shavasana at the end. Whereas this is like just short stuff that you don't have to get your mat out for or change your clothes. So that's the difference. And the membership now is mostly the live classes and then the recordings of the live classes. So I haven't been uploading any new stuff to the on-demand library for a while, mainly because more content doesn't necessarily mean more value. So just adding more stuff now into the on-demand library was like, I feel like I've got quite a good rounding there, and then they've got the Zoom and they've got the recordings. So if I just add more stuff, I think it would just overwhelm people at this point.
And what I also love is if we're now coming to yoga for tired people, as we talked about the specific sections and the text you're using, what I love most is I can see you here, just like, I guess, lying on the couch or on the floor, I guess, maybe you're on the floor, I guess, in your home. And I can see your cat there, and the post says start here. So what is this yoga for tired people anyway? And I see, this is what I told you with the hero post, of course, is that we would see similar stuff that Jo also shared in the about. So we would again start with yoga shouldn't be a chore, it should be a celebration, and so on. And then she explains again, what do I get with a subscription? Who's the teacher? So this is, as I shared, copy and pasting of the about. And this is super smart because the about, as well as the start here, this is the number one thing most people check out. And also, example, for instance, is my friend David McElroy. And he also shared that most of his subscribers, his paid subscribers, are coming via this star tier. So you can also be smart about this, meaning that you, for instance, would add the most popular stories there, or you would add like a whole library of content where you link people to everything you've got, because as Joe shared, it's not so easy to get an overview, because so often, especially if we're sharing videos and if we have live classes and everything, this content library is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you have to somehow like guide people then on their customer journey, which I think from Joe is very well done here on this side, although it might be like a hot mess. For me also, it always feels like a hot mess. And then people asking me, for instance, with the lives, I'm like, similar to our interview today, I'm like, something like this. And I'm like, Christina, how do you organize your live videos? And I'm like, you don't want to know. What I still really love was that you also shared with the notes that you're doing this in the moment. And I think also with your Substack newsletter, I guess, do you have like a specific format then? Let me maybe go to this one. A soft release for hips, lower back, and pelvic floor. This one, pelvic floor already. This sounds good for a mother of two. So I would click on this one. This is from May. Do you have like a specific format? Meaning there are people who start with problem, solution, and what else I can offer you, something like this. Do you have a specific format for all your newsletters?
Not really. So because they're more video focused, I usually just kind of explain what's happening in the video. I put a little bit of like a life update because it's a different style of newsletter.
Yeah, I think this is cool, Joe, because for instance, I always have the feeling that I have to add more text. Meaning if I have the videos, I have also a lot of video content. So let's say on a weekly basis, or of course for you, it's more than me. I'm having these live classes, master classes, or coaching classes. And then after this, I'm going to share the recording. So, and then with the recording, I always have the feeling I have to add text, meaning to explain what this story is about, especially if it's for paid members, and then to persuade people to become like a paid subscriber, something like this. But you might be right about this, have more like this minimalist atomic approach, which many have. So for instance, Jamie Northrup or Josh Spencer, for instance, he's not on Substack, but he's a great example as well. Just short and sweet. This could also be just like 3 links or so. This would be it, So I think this is a great example for many who are struggling and saying, hey, I'm having the videos, I'm having my newsletters, I have to add text, a lot of text. And I think this is a wonderful example because as you shared, you now have this orange badge, which is amazing, meaning you have thousands of paid subscribers, and you can also become an orange badge bestseller by sharing shorter newsletter posts. And Joe, is there another one? Could you say how long such a newsletter is? Is it just like 2 minutes plus, of course, the video, which is then, I guess, up to 11 or 12 minutes there?
It's like, oh, I'm cheating if I'm only sending something short. But actually, people much prefer that because, like, at the end of the day, they're busy. They've got lives. Like, get to the point. Like, you've landed in someone's inbox. What can you give them as quickly as possible? Like, so that they can get what they need and then just get on with their day. Like, they don't want to be like hunting around in a 10-minute newsletter for your point. That you just like, there you go, bye. It's been quite difficult because I am a waffler. I think it's made a big, big difference. Sometimes people just make assumptions about their audience, and then actually when you speak to them, then that isn't what they want at all. I think I have got a head start having a yoga studio for such a long time because I like literally had them face to face all of the time. So I was having those conversations all day, every day. And I feel like it's just an extension of what I've always been doing. And I had to give up quite a lot of stuff as well. So I'm a prenatal and postnatal trained teacher. And I do lots of stuff around like injury prevention and sports stuff. Like I've got a lot of anatomy training. I teach teachers. And what I was finding was that what was difficult was that I want to go like, this is all of my knowledge to everyone. So I had to give up some of the stuff in order to be able to make it clear what I was. Kind of got to learn who your audience is by trial and error. You can't have everyone as your audience. People are busy, and if they don't get what you offer straight away, then they just go on to the next thing. So you have to just be able to be like, this is what it is straight away. And a confused mind always says no.
Want to teach online without the burnout? Joe built a thriving paid newsletter with more than 1,400 members. Join the Online Writing Club, learn exactly how she did it step by step. You mentioned that you persuaded also some folks from Instagram to join you on Substack. Because you built this amazing audience on Instagram, I think with 170,000 followers there. Of course, followers aren't subscribers, but I would like to know, we don't need to discuss, again, this, she has already like a huge audience from somewhere else. For me, it would be more about, because you built this audience. I'm always telling people you built this audience. So I'd like to know what's worked best when bringing people over from Instagram to Substack.
November 2023, I only had 2,000 Instagram followers. And then I started taking it seriously. And then by February 2024, I had 170,000 followers. And then in July 2024, that's when I started my Substack. So it's not like I had this massive Instagram following that I've had for years, that I've cultured, and then suddenly I moved them over to Substack. It was kind of happening at the same time. What I've found is that actually I have been able to bring over some people from Instagram, especially at the beginning. That was kind of like where most of my people came from at the beginning. But of my 36,000 subscribers on Substack, 29,000 have come from within the Substack network. What I've found the best for bringing people over from Instagram is being really clear why they need to come over. Every year I do an advent calendar, and in December I was like, there's going to be an advent calendar, it's going to be free, it's going to be on Substack, come on over. And that's how the majority of people moved over from Instagram to Substack.
Here, what I wanted to talk with you about too was what many people are missing out on is their welcome email, for instance. So someone becomes, even if it's just like a free subscriber, someone is becoming a free subscriber, then you can send out a welcome email, then someone is becoming a paid subscriber. So I upgraded my membership experience to Yoga for Tired People. And then this was the email I got from you, Joe. Of course, this is automated. The cool thing about Substack that you can at least, edit these welcome emails, these paid subscriber emails, as well as the founding member emails. Joe said here to me a few minutes ago, I can not tell you how pleased I am to see your face here. Wonderful. I think this is very cool. Feel free to jump right in the yoga tutorials, archive, and so on. Then, for instance, I would learn more about email notifications and so on. And the one thing here you're sharing is the cozy 10-minute relaxation here. So I think this is a great example what Joe is doing here. Then we find another one, a bedtime hip release or yoga to release the jaw. Are these like the most successful videos or posts then you edit here? Or is it, again, based on this ideal reader where you know exactly what they're going to need right from the start?
It was just a mix. So I just wanted to do like a mix. So I have the meditation, I have the little jaw release, so it's kind of like a taster of everything that's going to be in the. So I was thinking, because some people only want to do the meditation, some people only want to do the restorative, and some people are like all about the jaw and shoulders. So I just wanted a little mix together.
Cool. So I'd say many thanks, Joe, that you had the time to chat with me. It was really delightful. Feeling like you're late to the party, I started from zero too. When I launched my Substack in 2022, I was a part-time working mom with 0 subscribers, no audience, and very little time. Now, I've built a community of more than 14,000 subscribers and turned my writing into a real business that feels awesome. One that really fits into my life and not the other way around. So join me inside the Online Writing Club. It would be so good to see you there.